Alrighty, I'm going to try to continue the video I started earlier today on doing the double buttonhole stitch. So what I wanted to show you here was when I finished putting in all of my double buttonholes, the way I ended this was simply to take my thread onto a needle and on the top just poke it down through your starting stitch and bring it around to the back. Now you want to do something to secure this if you're not going to use it, and you can just either weave it in and out of your buttonholes at the top, or if you're going to be using it to make your spokes, then just leave it. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom thread, and I'm going to simply poke it down through the hole here to close and join the two sides together so that we have loops on both sides. And again, if you were going to finish this off, then you could simply weave that loose thread in and out of your holes and secure it. Now for me, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start the Teneriffe. And if you go look in the file section, some time ago I uploaded a lot of templates for doing Teneriffe spokes. Okay, and this is what they look like. And what I've done, I don't know if you can see it or not, is there's a bunch of them in there for different numbers of spokes. Actually, I don't think 12 is in. I think I have 24, which you can just put in half. But the deal with Teneriffes and spokes are that the first thing you have to do is to determine what do you want your design or your pattern to look like. And keep in mind that in order to do a symmetrical design, you're going to need to have a number of spokes that are divisible, that is divisible by two numbers. So for this particular number of spokes, 12, I could either have 3 patterns consisting of 4. I could have 4 patterns consisting of 3 pieces, or I can have 2 patterns of 6 or 6 patterns of 2. That'd be a little hard, but anyway, this will make more sense as I show you. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to on this one demonstrate having 3 patterns of 4 segments each. Now, and you have to also count the space between the segments as part of the pattern. So for instance, if I wanted my pattern to be symmetrical and I wanted the threads to be here and here and here, okay, this is one pattern with this space. Okay, the space right here is part of your 4. All right, so this is your 4. So I put a space, and then I would do the same pattern here next to it. So these would fill in. This one would fill in to the top, and this one would fill in, and then here is your second space. And then lastly, you would have threads filling in here, here, and here, and here is your space. Right, pencil. So you can kind of see that this would be a repeating pattern. A repeating pattern of basically 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it repeats 3 times. This is the first time, this is the second repeat here, and the last one, this is your third repeat. Okay, so lay out your pattern, if not in your mind, on a piece of paper, however you want to lay it out. But you definitely need to figure out what your pattern is going to be to know how many spokes you're going to need. All right. So the the next piece of this is simply, and let me get rid of that, and I'll have a clean pattern here, is how do you lay these spokes out on your center. All right, I want 12 spokes. One of the ways, hopefully when you put in your last segment of buttonhole stitches, you're going to have a long enough piece of thread that you can do all your spokes with one piece of thread. I can tell you right now I'm not going to have enough with this, but I'll go ahead and start so you can at least see. At least you have two pieces, so you can always do it half with one and half with the other. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to come, I want 12 spokes on this center, and that's what I'm going to be using is my 12 spoke template. And I'm going to just kind of, for me, I was a math major in school, so I like everything exact, or as exact as can be. You can always just eyeball this if you want to, but since I'd like to do things with a little more precision, that's why I did the template. So I would lay my Teneriffe center down, my ring down on my template, and just, here's the eyeball part. You just have to kind of make sure you've got equal amounts of space here all the way around your center. But my first spoke is just going to go straight down across. So I see it needs to go about right here. So all I'm going to do is mark that with my finger, and I'm going to come up or down through this. Let's go down through it. To make my first spoke. Okay? So here's your first spoke. And again, put it in the center. Now my next spoke is going to have to start at this point and go across to over to here. So all I need to do is weave in and out of these buttonholes. Can you see? Let me see if I can get the light in a little better spot here. Is that a little better? Okay. So we're going to weave in and out of these buttonholes until we get to this point, and then I'm going to take my spoke and go back across to the other side. So that's why I like to have the template to go by. Now here is another, let me do this another way. Here is another tip. If you don't keep these spokes really, really tight, then your entire design is going to be rather loose. One of the ways that I have sort of stumbled upon to doing this that allows me to keep these spokes tighter than normal is rather than weaving in and out to get to my next point on the inside of the buttonholes, I'm going to take this spoke and just come across the back, straight across, and come to the outside spokes, or the outside buttonholes. All right, like so. Now, I can kind of tighten on that really, really tight and hopefully hold it a little bit while I do my weaving in and out on the exterior spokes on the outside. All right, this uses a little more thread, but it lets you keep that spoke a little bit tighter. So I weave in and out until I get to the point, which is about right here, of where this next spoke's going to be, and then I come back to the inside. So I want that inside spoke about right here. Okay, see where I'm coming across? I'm going to lay that down right there. And now I'm going to come across and see where the next spoke needs to go about right here. This is not an exact science. All right, so now those are my first two spokes. And all I'm going to do is keep going around. Now I'm going to go weave in and out on the back till I get to this point and then come back across. All right. And again, keep the tension on these spokes very, very tight. If you don't, you will have a loose pattern when you go to put your design in. All right, so I'm just going to do one more and then go to the patterns. So a little bit further. It also helps to, when you lay your design, or when you lay your ring down on the template, try to be sure that you always use the same starting point here to go from, because if you don't, then you'll end up getting things a little bit off. So I see now that this one is about lined up to where I want it, so I'm going to come back. I want to come through right here from the back. Okay. Oops, let's see, that was my start, wasn't it? Yep, there we go. And I want to come across about right here. All right, so you see how those spokes are going to be developing. All right, and then I would continue. If I run out of thread, which I'm going to do, I might only get one more spoke on this one, then I would just secure it somehow on one end, wherever it stops, and pick up another thread. And what you can do here is pick up this other piece of thread and continue. Oops, I've gotten all twisted up. Continue with your second thread if it's long enough. This is where it makes a lot of sense that if you have to add on another piece of thread, add on a really long piece. Okay, that was my start. This also shows you where your start is if you keep that one. All right, that's spokes. Now, that being said, let's go. Oh dear, what happened to my design? Oh, here it is. All right, so here you can see a design I started where accidentally I miscounted everything, and somehow or another I got my my design pattern all out of kilter. But never mind, doesn't have to be exact. But at any rate, here, this is my last 4 open segments. If you can see it, I don't know whether you can see it here. Let me do it like so. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, no, take that back. 1, 2, 3, 4, because this space goes with this pattern. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to do my pattern in these 3. So that pattern is going to look basically like this one right here. 1, 2, 3. So to get started, I'm just going to come up on one side, and I'm using waxed floss, embroidery floss for this, variegated embroidery floss. It looks really cool. And I'm just going to leave this tail hanging for right now because I'll go back and bury it within the design pattern. Or you can just run that floss right up beside one of your spokes and hide it as you weave around the spokes. But at this point, the only thing you're going to do is weave in and out. So I'm going to hold this right here, okay? And I'm going to just go in and out. In the beginning down here, you won't be able to see much until you get this in a little bit of a pattern. But then you're just going to go back and forth, alternating the spaces that you go through. Let me hold it this way. Okay. And push that down in there tightly. So I'm going to go up through this one, down through the next one, up through the next one, down through the next one, and back up through the last one. Okay, and then kind of pack it down a little bit. And that's all Teneriffe is back and forth. It's weaving. It is just like you're weaving a piece of material, a blanket, a basket. Okay. All right, I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to explain it to you because it does take, this takes a long time depending on how big your ring is or how big your patterns are, how many spokes you use. If you do a lot of baskets with Teneriffe Centers, this is really a time hog. Why, if you look at that one that's on the Facebook banner page that my mother did, it's the raffia one, that's the beautiful basket that is in the banner. I cannot imagine how much time that must have taken her to do. It is absolutely gorgeous. All right, so as you go, you can, I think now, begin to see it's starting to take a little bit of shape. So what you would do would be continue to weave on up across these 4 spokes until you reach whatever point in this pattern, say about right here, that you want to drop off weaving around the outer 2. And you're just going to go at that point back and forth between these center 2 spokes as you move your pattern up to the top of the ring. Okay? I hope that makes some sense. It's not something that's easy to demonstrate all the way to the finish because you certainly don't want to be sitting here for hours and hours and hours watching me do this. But that's how you do a Teneriffe. Okay? I hope that helps everybody. Bye.